Hello, everybody, and welcome to vlog 36 from Lady Parts. I'm Liron Cohen.
And I'm Torchin.
And this is part one of a two-parter vlog 36 fall preview. There are so many new shows that we actually have to probably do 4 of them.
Yeah, I was going to say we have at least 3 that we're going to have to do chronologically later on in October and November.
So what will happen is we'll do part 1 now. Part 2 will be posted a week from now. Part 1 is shows that are starting as soon as next week. And again, sorry for the noise.
We apologize again for the circular saw.
They should be apologizing to us.
It's been a summer of buzz saws.
Anyway, the part 1 ends, I believe, September 21st. Then we have part 2 next week, all the way till mid-October. Then we'll have 2 weeks later, we'll have the special post-Emmy vlog, and after that, we'll get to the shows that are coming in late October and November, because new shows are just coming all over the place all the time these days, and there are many of them. However many of them are to be excited about, we'll see.
We'll see. We may change our minds either way.
Right.
Things go along.
This is just what it looks like from the preview, and oftentimes I find that they choose to highlight things in the preview that make it seem very boring or unoriginal.
At least boring to us.
No, to me, that's what I'm saying. And then when I actually watch the show, I say, oh, why did they? I mean, they made the show. Yeah, they made the show seem like something entirely different. So this is just a preliminary.
And it's not everything.
No, it's
the things that we were totally disinterested in. We're not bothering with. We're going to leave that up to you to.
There are a couple of lame comedies or here and there that we said, oh, why waste time on this? There's so much to talk about.
Exactly. Let's
talk about the things that we do want to highlight.
Let's talk.
You start with show, and this is chronological.
Yes, exactly. So I'm starting off with Atlanta on FX. It's starting September the 6th. What day is that?
It's going to be on Tuesdays.
On Tuesdays. Do you have the time?
Oh, no.
No? Okay.
No. Times
Tuesdays.
Are fine. It's sometime between 8 and 11, right?
I'll tell you right now, I'm not very interested in this, but it looked very good. Yeah. It's the Atlanta rap scene. And I have to say before I even... It's basically, it says 2 cousins with different views of art versus commerce. They're on their way up through the Atlanta rap scene. And I have to say that star and creator Donald Glover said that Atlanta will be Twin Peaks for rappers.
Oh.
Now, I didn't
get that from the preview.
The preview didn't make it. Made it seem straightforward.
See, that's exactly what we were talking
kind of
about.
Gangsta, and
but very, very interesting. I mean,
yes,
it looked really good.
It looked really good, really well made. The characters were very interesting and well drawn, even in the trailer.
Yeah.
So I have here that the trailer looked good.
Yeah.
So if this scene interests you, you really should give it a try.
It's very male.
Totally male centric, African American centric.
Which is wonderful, by the way. This is one of the trends that
we've
taken.
Lots.
We attribute it to both the success of Empire and Blackish and
what happened at the Oscars.
Right, there were TV response to the Oscars, but it's
and TV
so
is
fantastic.
Always ahead of anyway.
Right,
especially now.
You will see there are so many shows starring black casts, which is so great, and I hope that soon enough they'll also figure it out with Latinos and with gay people, and
we have
maybe they'll throw a few Asians.
No, we have a few Asians.
Just the
but when you read the cast, they're always especially
one here what they call token, but not really.
Yeah, Liron had these questions that she wanted answered, and I found it to be impossible to answer all. Let
me just explain. So, as you know, we're called Lady Parts, and so the emphasis
because we have lady parts,
and because we focus on lady parts, on the parts that women play
in television and
film,
the roles they play.
Right. So, we always look at things from the big picture point of view, but also from a very specific point of view, which is how do women fare in television and all of that. So when we're looking at these new shows, we're looking at 3 questions. One is generally, how do women? Is it a female lead? Is it female centric? How prominent are women in the show? Secondly, are there any female friendships on the show? Because female friendships are a rare commodity in television. Even when the show is led by a woman, usually she's surrounded by men, or she has this
her issues are
romantic
all about
tension with another with her leading man.
Or fathers or whatever.
Right. So there's that, and then third, specifically for us of interest, are there any lesbians? Now, granted, it's not always easy from a preview to know if there's a lesbian.
Almost impossible.
However, if there's no lesbian in the preview, or if you can't get from the preview that she is a lesbian, then that means that even if there is a lesbian character, she'll be marginal. And so that kind of...
Well, see, I don't... I'm kind of disagreeing with that. First of all, I wanted to say that there's only one question I could answer for sure from any of these things.
No lesbians.
Occasionally, maybe you could tell there might be a female friendship. But these shows, none of them look to be any saving hopes, which is filled with female
I got
friendships.
a few more shows that do have that.
Yeah, I got all the sci-fi stuff. All the male-centered shows for some reason, and the sci-fi, which I adore. But I think that there could be plenty of lesbians that they're not making it a point about. It's just something that will come up as time goes on. And I think that is if
possible.
That were true, that's a step forward.
That is possible. I'm just saying it definitely doesn't look like any of the leads
I couldn't answer
or any
that
of
question.
the important people have a significant lesbian relationship.
There was no way I could answer that question in any of the shows that I
even on
covered.
Ensemble shows that feature many different kinds of couples don't have, and or gay men for that.
Like This Is Us.
Yeah, so which we'll
From
get
what
to.
we could tell, I don't think we saw. I didn't. Anyway.
No gay characters. But we'll see. We'll see when it actually happens, and we'll report back to you. Okay, so that's Atlanta.
We'll get back to you on that. Yes,
That's
and
Atlanta.
I have to say that it looks very slick.
Okay. Next we have
Queen Sugar. This is on OWN, and it's a joint. It's created by the great Ava DuVernay, and Oprah Winfrey had a lot of input into it.
You just said the great Ava DuVernay, and you didn't say the great Oprah Winfrey. Let's hope Oprah is not watching, because she'll be.
I think Oprah actually is great, but I
but
have
Oprah
never been
thinks
a
she's
great, massive fan of Oprah, because she too much thinks she's great. But she is a very cool chick, and I'm very pleased that she's been using OWN to do
original
content and true to herself, women and African Americans. I think it's very cool. It'll have a 2-night premiere, September 6th and September 7th, which is Tuesday and Wednesday. Even I could figure that out. That was a Tuesday over there. The preview looked extremely classy. Extremely classy. I don't know either of the female leads, but actually I do, because I realized that Rutina Wesley was one of the main characters in True Blood. And she's an interesting, strong actress, very original, and I think she's going to be very good. She'll be one of the two sisters. Dondre Whitfield and Greg Vaughn are on it, and they were both on soaps, so I remember them.
And what is it about, generally?
It's about two sisters moved to the heart of Louisiana to claim their inheritance of an 800-acre sugar plantation.
Wow.
Yeah, which they're going to probably have to work together. There's probably some cousins that they're going to have to deal with. It's the thing that it actually seems very interesting. We don't know anything about sugar plantations. Even movies about slaves aren't too much about sugar plantations, unless they're about zombies and took place on Caribbean islands in black and white movies. They're all female directors. I looked through the directors. Every single director, and there's a bunch of them, it's a long list, are women, and almost all minorities, including an Asian director. I think there might be one Caucasian. And 6 out of the 7 writers are women.
Well, Ava DuVernay, not only is she a fabulous director and completely was robbed the Oscar nomination for Selma,
at least for a nomination, which was a stunning film.
Oh my God, it was one of my favorite movies
so
of the whole year.
So
back then.
moving.
And so she's a wonderful director, but also she has taken it on herself to highlight, to feature, to empower, to pioneer and champion women behind the scenes and obviously in front of the camera. Mm-hmm. So that is so fantastic. I can't wait to see that.
Me neither. Oh, by the way, I have imposed upon us. I don't know if Liron did.
I did. I think I was a little more brutal than you.
A 10-star system, of course, 10 being highest, 0 being lowest, and that I didn't have any zeros. And
No, I
zeros
did.
we didn't bother
Zeros
with.
we didn't take.
No. Anyway, for Atlanta, I had a 4.5 interest in that, and I think it was
but it's
so...
for interest.
For interest.
Yeah, for
no,
you.
No judgment. This
Right.
is just interest for us, from what I could see. And for Atlanta, I have a 7.5.
No, for Queen Sugar.
Sorry, Queen Sugar. I have a 7.5.
Okay. Now, my first show, which is premiering September 9th, it's going to be a Friday. There are a lot of Friday shows on my list.
Good, I'm
Interesting,
glad. Yes.
it's a Cinemax.
Friday has been a wasteland. 2
I know.
shows and one you don't watch.
And one is actually ending.
Yeah,
that one is
after
ending.
This season, right? Grim.
Yeah, and the other one being Blue Bloods, which we love. Okay, so it's a Cinemax show called Query. And it's about, now the thing about it is that on paper it sounds like something that's just right up my alley, because I love that time of in history. I love the subject matter, but the preview seemed so uninteresting and creepy. So it's about a Marine who returns from Vietnam in 1972, only to find himself shunned by his loved ones and demonized. I don't know why I just couldn't spit that out. Demonized by the public. Now I'm a big...
I lived through that.
And I am, I have a very strong affinity for that entire time in history. I'm kind of obsessed with it. And by the way, it's based on a novel. And it's starring Logan Marshall Green. I personally don't know him from anything.
Me neither.
It seems very dark, but not in the way that we usually like it. It seems extremely male. The wife, Joni, played by Joni Balfour, I could barely even really find her, because you can see her in the preview kind of here and there, and she seems to be central, but all the women in the show seem to be in service of the men. There's very little that it is actually about them. So it seems very high quality, but nothing that I would actually be interested in seeing. So I gave it a 2, even though, again, it seems... Well, again, because it's very
just
unlikely...
hearing about it, for me, I would give it a 3.5.
Well, we're different. But, I mean, I would probably give it a chance. I would probably try to watch it, but I doubt that I will stay with it. So, and then again, for the subject matter, I love it. I want to see it, but not by the preview. Okay, next.
You're next, I believe, aren't you?
Am I? Oh, I actually forgot a show in the middle. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So the show that I left out was actually September 8th, the day before, on Thursday.
Oh, okay.
And this is a show that I gave an 8 because I'm so excited about it. It's probably one of the shows that I'm most excited about this summer, even though it's a 30-minute comedy, which I don't usually go for. It's called Better Things. It's on FX. And it's about an actress in Hollywood who raises her 3 daughters while juggling the pressures of working in Hollywood and being a single parent. Now, it's starring Pamela Adlon, who also created the show with Louis C.K. She's a 50-year-old woman. She's just a real woman. And it shows both, I think, from what it seems like, it shows both what it's like to be a working single mother, and she's raising 3 girls. One of them is very young, one of them is a teenager, one of them is kind of in the middle, like a tween. And so I think it will also show what it's like to be a kid, a teenager, a growing up kind of a process in today's world. The fact that she's an actress and it's in Hollywood even makes it more of all these pressures are even more highlighted. I love seeing a mom who is 50 rather than seeing, it seems like we always see like people like Mila Kunis having like 3 kids at 13. I mean, it's...
Well, she did say in the movie that she's
yes,
bad mom,
because it was
she started early.
Yes, but she's not the only one. I see so many mothers just being these very, very young mothers. It's nice to see a real woman. Mm-hmm. And it seems very promising for female friendships. I think there's a possibility for one of the girls, one of her daughters, to be a lesbian, or at least have some gender issues or sexuality issues, just from the way that it looks. I might be wrong, but it seems promising. But anyway, it seems great. It's very irreverent, and it's very, very real. And I love it, and I'm looking forward to it.
And when is it going to be? It's going to be on Mondays?
It's going to be on Thursdays on FX.
Now, interesting enough, this is called The Case of Cohen. John Benet Ramsey.
Because I
think it's supposed to be an anthology. Maybe they'll do I think it said it's about 6 issues. 3 2-hour episodes.
You know what the thing is? This is I think that they're doing it now because of the success of The Making of a Murderer and Serial. I think they see that
Right.
people are very interested in seeing the real behind the
The
scenes.
thing on HBO about that guy who they
Yeah.
actually convicted practically. I forgot the name of it.
So I think that they see that people are very interested in the behind the scenes of actual murder cases.
And this is a case that was never solved. It happened.
Did you say whose case was it?
Yeah, the case of John Benet Ramsey. I couldn't find anything actually, even on IMDb, about this. I had to go and look elsewhere. It examines the tragic 1996 murder of a 6-year-old, often beauty pageant contestant, the beautiful little John Benet Ramsey, who they found. There was her mother. It starts with a horrible call. My daughter's disappeared. She's been kidnapped. They later found her walled up in the basement.
In the basement of her own house?
Of their own house.
Wow.
It was a 1996 case. At one point, everybody, her brother, who was a little bit older than she was and kind of strange, her father, and her mother, especially Patsy Ramsey, were suspect.
Wow.
Patsy,
it is like a
Patsy Ramsey died at 40-something, I think 2006 or 2009. They had all been exonerated, and the case was never solved. So they are actually going to try in this series to more or less solve the case. And I remember this case; it was everywhere for many years. There was always some new twist and turn. As soon as they think another family member did it, there'd be a flurry of press coverage.
You can see why it would lend itself to it.
I'm pretty sure there was a TV movie.
A Lifetime.
Oh, look at that big woodpecker.
A woodpecker, I saw
that's
it. Yeah.
Woodpecking on our deck. So I lived through it.
And they're going to be using all sorts of specialists, right?
All sorts of specialists, a lot of clips.
And it seems from the trailer that they've actually been able to uncover
some new evidence.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway,
CBS.
CBS. For some reason, I only gave it a 6.5 because actually, I
you're
think
not
it's
into
because
those real things.
I think because it was so painful at the time that I'm not looking forward to living through it again.
It's a very delicate. I mean, it's a 6-year-old girl. It's going to be very hard to watch.
There was always the question of abuse and maybe not, and
it seems though fascinating.
Fascinating, absolutely. And I will be watching at least the first 1 or 2 episodes.
Okay, next that was September 18th, right?
September the 18th.
Yes.
Which is what day?
Sunday.
Thank you.
Now we have September 19th. It's going to premiere on September 19th, which is a Monday, but then it's going to move to Thursday, which will be its permanent slot. I don't know. We'll see.
It's a good thing we have 6 shows we can tape at once.
We'll see how permanent it's going to be because comedies there's always a big chance that they're not going to make it past the second week. So it's a comedy on NBC. It's called The Good Place. It's starring the adorable Kristen Bell and Ted Danson.
Who kind of plays God.
Who plays the architect who oversees the place. Well, here's what it is. It's called The Good Place because it's about the afterlife. It's about a special place where people who had done good in their lives, they go to in the afterlife.
Heaven, in other words.
Right.
But it's just like a town.
Right, and it reminds me a lot of Defending Your Life, the movie with Meryl Streep and what's his name? Albert Brooks. But here, what happens is they made a mistake. She's actually a terrible person, and some sort of a clerical error or whatever. She ended up in this good place. So now she has to kind of prove that she belongs there.
She's got to make amends.
Right. So her soulmate, that's going to be her best friend and working with her throughout this entire time, who's a black male actor. So it doesn't seem like there are going to be any female friendships, from what I could tell. It seems like she's
unlikely to be lesbians.
She's going to be, yes, because they don't end up in heaven, right? They go to hell. So
the other place.
It seems like
at some point they say, "Well, what's the bad place like?" You know.
Yes, and then they let her hear an audio of
just like what you expect hell to be.
So it seems like she's mostly going to be between her and the 2 men in her life. It's from the creator of Parks and Recs and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It looks funny, but at the same time, I don't think we'll be watching more than one of them because I don't know how it will sustain itself.
It actually looks very good to me.
It looks
I
funny,
laughed.
but how long
I
do
gave
we
it
stick with
I
them?
gave it a 7.
I gave it a 3.
So there you see it.
Well, I mean,
Is this another thing I have to watch by myself?
No. Well, the reason I gave it a 3 is for 2 reasons. A, I really don't expect for it to last more than 2 weeks. And B, because knowing us and our history with comedies. Even the ones that look funny, we just can't stick with them. They have to give us something more than just be you know. They have to be interesting on a different level to us. So
okay,
that's what I thought. But what you?
Yeah, as I said, it looked funny to me. I laughed quite a bit, and I gave it a 7. But again, if it having our druthers, we usually will drop a comedy. So next on September 20th, which is Tuesday, we have Bull, which is on CBS. It's actually based, I believe, on Dr. Phil's early life.
Really?
It says Phil. What's his last name? Based on Phil.
You mean Dr. Phil?
Yeah.
From television?
Yeah. But what's his last name?
Oh, who cares?
That's
Dr.
the name.
Phil.
That's the name they use. So I suppose.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Who plays a brilliant and eccentric jury consultant. He believes that the secret to winning any case is picking the right jury, and it's all done very scientifically. He's rather arrogant, but I think Michael Weatherly is extremely charming. I'm an NCIS fan, mostly because my father was, and then I got into it. Gave us something to talk about on the phone. And Freddie Rodriguez plays his brother-in-law, who is a defense attorney, and he runs the mock trials, which of course they have. It seems extremely male-centric, but it looks really great. It looks like a lot of fun. Now, I put a note here that it might get old, but what Liron reminded me is it looks like they take one case for the entire season.
That's what it seemed like from the preview, because they kept returning to the same jurors and the same... So,
and that makes sense, because you don't want to rush all this stuff. There's a lot of information to be had.
Right. And a lot of things, well, it's not just that he selects the jury. There's a lot of psychology that happens, like he would take a witness and he will dress him differently or do his hair differently, or it's all about the psychology
of it.
And you know especially why I find it interesting now, because we just finished watching The Night Of.
Right.
And it had
but they didn't pay any attention to the jurors.
They didn't pay any attention to the jurors, but watching the defendant, exactly. Watching him transform and how I felt about him with every change, and it really makes you understand how many things, like he said in I think in the preview for Bull, that so much of our communication, 90% of it, I think, is nonverbal. So
it's cues, and
it has a lot of potential to be interesting, and especially if they stick with one trial. If they just do a case of the week, it becomes tedious and formulaic.
Because how can you do the information really when you think about it? Do you?
Well,
it would just
be a different show. Yeah, it would just be a different show.
So I'm pretty sure that they do one
do. Oh, gee, you did the Bernie thing. They do.
One case, and then that makes it interesting, because we can really delve into it.
So how much did you get? Oh, you gave it a 7.
Oh, I gave it I think I'm going to move it up. No, I gave it a 7.5. That's almost an 8.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Next, the show that the preview to it has broke every record of previews for TV shows watched online, apparently. It's called This Is Us, an NBC show premiering September 20th, which is a Tuesday.
They've also been advertising it a lot this summer.
Yeah. Well, it's supposed to be like they're predicting that it will be the biggest hit. It's very kind of weird, vague premise. It's people who share a birthday.
That's how they tied them together.
Right. They're all, I guess they all just turned now 36, and they're all in what seems to be pivotal points in their lives. For example, there's a married couple who's expecting triplets. There's a TV actor who is bored with leading a life of a bachelor. And of course, there is a sign of lesbians in that, but only in that he celebrates his birthday with 2 girls in bed, which already puts me off.
That's not necessarily lesbian.
Oh, please, I'm being so facetious. I'm being facetious. That's like the closest.
Westworld,
that's the closest we got to lesbians. And there is a woman who is obese and is trying to lose weight. And
looking for love.
And looking for love, and possibly finding it at OA. Mandy Moore is starring. She's the woman who's pregnant with triplets. And Justin Hartley, I believe he's called, the cute guy from the soap who also was on Revenge.
Oh, right.
Yeah. it's kind of an ensemble show. It also has an African American family. It seems to be a lot about fatherhood, different definitions of fatherhood. It doesn't seem to me, I mean, I know it's supposed to be kind of half women, half men. It seems from the preview, again, it seems more focused on the men, but maybe
Which
that's
is
just...
a completely ridiculous thing to do because it's a total woman's
Well,
kind of show.
Well, I don't know what they're trying to achieve, but again, this might just be, you know, sometimes they'll have different subjects for different trailers. Maybe this was about fatherhood. I don't know.
Husbands and boyfriends will watch because their wives want to see it. And
Yeah,
their girlfriends.
it looks really sappy. It's a family drama. It will really, I think, come down to whether or not we like the characters. And I will also, I also really mind the fact that, again, if it's an ensemble show with different families, why is there no family that is in any way gay or...
That we saw, yeah.
Well, they highlighted all the main people,
exactly.
so I would think. It's created by men,
This
all
would have
men.
been a perfect opportunity to throw in a gay couple.
It's kind of like
family.
brothers and sisters, or, you know.
Yes, it's that ilk of show.
I don't see female friendships, at least from the preview. And if I may say, and there's another show here that we'll talk about, even though being overweight and dealing with all that stuff is very important, I would like to see an overweight woman or a real woman or an obese woman, any of that stuff, with the exception of Empire. I would like to see a woman who is just playing a role of a woman leading a life, and it's not all about her hating her body and needing to lose weight. Because there's another show in here that also, you know, I'm pretty sure they're proud of themselves for having you know, by Hollywood standard, an overweight woman who is not really overweight. She's just normal looking. And it's all about her hating her body, her dieting, her hating other people for making her feel fat. Just have a woman play a woman. Just like you can have a lesbian playing just a woman, etc. So I gave it a 5, but we'll see. Maybe they'll surprise me.
All right, now I have my first actual sci-fi show, and it's airing on Sci-Fi, being produced on Sci-Fi. Aftermath. It's starring Anne Heche and James Tupper. It's the first of our post-apocalyptic. Actually, there's 2 shows that say the same thing.
I think there's
after a series of natural disasters like earthquakes and floods and
giant tomatoes eating people.
No giant tomatoes.
Turning into sharks.
No, natural disasters of
Raining
every
frogs.
type and plagues. And
I knew they're going to be
there would be plagues, and at the end they throw in, as a bonus, supernatural creatures.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, the Copeland family, which has two daughters and 1 son, mother and father. This is them trying to survive in the aftermath of sort of the end of the world. So it seemed to be well balanced between men and women. We'll see. I always like Anne Heche, and James Tupper is darling. I love science fiction. I like the premise. I mean, we've had it a few times, but this one might be different.
I think people have a certain anxiety on their mind. There's so many post-apocalyptic shows.
Yes. It's got a few women directing. It's got 1 woman producer who's done some writing, Adrienne Maggs.
When did you say this was premiering?
9/20.
Oh, which is, okay.
Yeah.
That's a Tuesday.
Right. And same night as Bull. This is on the Sci-Fi Network, and I gave it a 7.5 because it looks pretty good to me.
You like sci-fi so much.
Yeah.
Okay, next September 21st.
But I only like good sci-fi and medium sci-fi.
And medium sci-fi. And sometimes, and
No.
on Saturdays, you also like crap sci-fi.
Well, what I like is crap sci-fi made movies. Those I adore. Yes. No, but I don't like a crap sci-fi series.
Okay, September 21st, which is a Wednesday, also known as the worst day in television.
Well, it's the best day in television.
It's the best way, which is why we go crazy.
Anxiety-ridden day.
Lethal Weapon, which I don't predict will cause us too many problems on our schedules. So, you know, it's based on the Mel Gibson, Danny Glover movies from the 80s and 90s, which I, by the way, adore.
I liked the first one. After that, it was the same story every time.
Yes, but they were fun.
But I did love the first one.
Yeah, they were fun. They were. Mel Gibson was still likable.
I could still stand Mel Gibson. He was still cute, except for that mullet.
So, the premise is about this slightly unhinged former Navy SEAL who becomes a cop in LA, and he's partnered with a veteran detective who's just basically trying to keep a low profile. In the movie, he was approaching retirement.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the same is here, but that's why
Well, they say he is, that he's 50. He doesn't look it.
No, he looks 50. Yeah, no, but he is.
Yeah.
We looked it up.
Right.
So Clayne Crawford, I don't know him, but maybe you do. He plays Riggs, the Mel Gibson character, and Damon Wayans is playing Murdaugh, his partner. So they kept the ages and the races the same as the movie. Jordana Brewster, some of you might find this appealing because of her, because I know you love her. She's
I like her.
She's there. Keisha Sharp
Started on soaps, by the way.
and also
not Keisha.
I don't know how to pronounce her name. Sparg Graydon.
Oh, Sparg Graydon.
Okay.
I know who that
Which we've
person
seen her
is.
in a million things. Yes, these are the three women. Keisha Sharp plays Murdaugh's wife. One of them is a cop. There are some women who seem like they're going to have important roles, but it's a definitely Riggs and Murdaugh's show. I don't think. To me, the movies were great. I don't see any reason to do this, with the exception of they run out of original ideas and they keep trying to remake movies into shows. To me, it's kind of like it's redundant, mostly, more than anything. I give it a 2.
Wow.
Yes. Okay, next, a show that I am excited about. Also premiering September 21st, Wednesday. It's a comedy on ABC, because ABC likes to be in the forefront of these sort of things. It's called Speechless.
Oh, yeah.
And it's starring the fabulous Minnie Driver. Just
So
love
darling.
her. And it's about a family that has a special needs son, played by Micah Fowler, who has cerebral palsy in real life. So not only are they doing a show that's focused on a person with disabilities, they even cast a real actor with a disability,
Finally.
which is, 2 check marks, more than anything I can ever say on any of the other channels, except for Breaking Bad.
Didn't ABC also do Life Goes On?
Oh, yes. Was that ABC?
I believe it
Oh,
was.
I love
could
that
be
show.
wrong, but
I
I'm
love
pretty
that
sure it
show.
was ABC.
Well, ABC, again, they always love to be in the forefront of this, and I really admire them for. So the show is about the family that is trying to overcome the challenges of living with a disability and creating new ones, because they're all, kind of quirky.
Are
And
they trying to mainstream him too?
What Micah said the actor in a statement, which I loved, was that he faces a lot of challenges in real life, and you will see also in the preview, for example, things that most people don't even think about. So many places are not accessible, for example, and you see the mother fighting with somebody for that. But he said more than all of that stuff, what the challenge that he finds most challenging is that people seem to feel so uncomfortable around him. And what he hopes is that this is going to just normalize, like what Shonda Rhimes said when people keep asking her about, you have all this diversity. She said, well, I don't think of it as diversity. I think of it as normalizing television, because television needs to mirror more of what the world actually looks like. So he said that he hopes that this is kind of going to just be normalizing people with disabilities so that other people will feel less uncomfortable about it. So it looks really funny. It looks very sweet. Again, Minnie Driver is adorable.
I love Minnie Driver.
There are 2 other siblings, a boy and a girl, and yeah, just wonderful. It looks fantastic, and kudos to ABC.
Okay.
Lastly, for this vlog,
is this? Oh, yes,
Yes.
it is. And this is also on Wednesday, or is it?
this is also premiering on September 21st.
9/21.
This is what we said about Wednesday, by the way.
This is the show. This first vlog I'm most excited about. Designated Survivor on ABC, and starring Kiefer Sutherland, who I'm not that big a fan of because he's a whisperer. I hate actors who talk like this all the time. They make everything seem important by whispering everything, but
that negates that.
He actually looks quite cute in this. I mean,
he looks like a nerd, which is what he's supposed to look like.
Yeah, it's a very different
from 24
character than Jack was. And here's apparently what happens, like when there's the State of the Union.
Wait, is that an actual thing?
Yes.
Or did they make it up?
No, I think this happens.
Really?
When there's a State of the Union address, and all of
The most
the
important
leaders
ones.
of our country are crammed into the House of Representatives. I think that's where they do it, the chamber there. They take one low-level cabinet member, in this case, Kiefer Sutherland, and put them someplace else so that in case something happens or they're attacked,
And everybody dies.
there's somebody left to run the country.
Wow.
And that's what happens. There's an attack. You see him in the preview. He and his wife, Natasha McElhone, who I adore. Yeah, I'm very excited by Maggie Q and Natasha McElhone. I think that's how you say her name. I love them both, especially Maggie Q. And anyway, you see them sort of joking and watching it on a big screen and having popcorn.
Because I'm sure
and
it's
snacks, right?
Because nobody ever expects
And then
anything
all of
to
a
happen.
sudden, he looks out the window and he sees the screen goes by and he sees an explosion.
Yeah.
So he is the designated survivor and he becomes president of the United States.
And then what?
Well, trouble ensues.
Oh wait, who do we know who attacked the?
No, they haven't told us that.
That's I'm assuming
that's
one of the
part
things.
of it, exactly, which works for Jack, right? For 24.
But he mostly feels that he's completely incompetent for the job.
Yeah, I think so.
Right?
He plays the character Tom Kirkman, and I think he will grow into the office. He does take hold of the reins. You can see him doing it, but people are kind of like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this guy's president." He's going to face a lot of really dire things, and it looks really, really good to me. I didn't see any women listed as directors or writers. I'm sure it's all male men who created it.
But let's
But
hope
the
Maggie
cast
Q
seems-
gets to be a kick-ass character
She does.
because
She's
such
an
a
FBI
kick-ass
agent.
chick.
She does. The cast seems very balanced by the sexes, and it was a very good-looking trailer. And I'm really excited by this. I gave it an 8.5. There's only
Okay.
one other thing I think that I gave a higher.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So, I know what it is. So these are the shows that we're going to review for now. Next week, we're actually going to tape it right after this, so don't be surprised that we're wearing the same thing. But next week, you're going to see all the shows starting after that. And so you have, I think your plate is going to be full in the next couple of weeks.
It's going to be so full. Because there will also be returning shows that you love.
Oh, of course. We're not even addressing the returning shows. Madam Secretary and SVU and the Chicago
and a lot of things that I'd like to talk about that we haven't talked about much before, but things that I love.
Well, we'll have to talk about them as the new season starts, and then we'll have something to say about them too. But, I mean, there's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
So
you'll be busy.
And we'll be happy
Try
to
to have
hear
a
from
life.
you. Tell us what you think about these shows as they're happening, because, again, we might change our minds once we start seeing them, watching them. So write to us, ladypartsvlog@gmail.com, and join us next week for the second installment of this fall preview. Thank you so much. We had fun. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.